Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you all are having a great day. In this episode, the title doesn't lie. I sold my CRF250L. We're going to talk about why, what that means for the channel, why is there a KLX 140 sitting next to me? All that's coming up next. Let's get right into the video. Welcome back to JB ADV, guys. My name is Jacob. Like I mentioned, I sold my CRF250L. So the last video you guys watched with me and my CRF250L was the off-road ride that we just got done doing in Wayne, which was actually last summer, 2022. Right when we got back from that ride, I stopped riding because I actually went to school. I left my job. I went back to school to pursue a different career path that I've been really trying to do for a while, and I was just in the position where I could try to do that. I stopped riding off-road, which then got me thinking, if the bike is sitting, am I gonna keep it around? The truth of the matter is, I wanted to keep the bike around. I love that CRF250L. Mostly sentimental reasons, but realistically, it is a good bike. The CRF250L and 300L and the rally forms of both those, they're great bikes. You can see tons of people out there absolutely killing it off-road. I know I've showed off a lot of really technical stuff with that bike and what it can do, and it may seem like a challenge at times, but I think that we like the challenge as these small Honda riders, and I don't know what it is about that, but we just like live for it. With that in mind, I did notice that the CRF250L is starting to limit me in more ways than one as far as progressing my riding skills. So now I'm left with thinking, well, what is it that's limiting me about this bike? What can I change if I go to buy a different bike? Starting off, we're gonna start about the weight. The weight of the Honda CRF 250L or 300L, they're right around 300 pounds. I had a lot of gear on that bike, including side bags, a rack. I had a lot of other things. The handguards even add weight up top. I had some light pods up there, which a lot of people run. Just overall, a lot of things that add a little bit extra weight. Probably not too much, but we're probably up in like the 320, 325 range. That bike has so much weight for its class that you could get a comparable bike like a KTM or a Husqvarna or a Beta, and they're about 50 pounds lighter. And they have a bigger motor and better suspension, which leads me right into the next topic, the suspension on the 250L. These bikes are budget bikes. There's a reason why we're spending under 6 grand, 5 grand, 4 grand, depending new or used on these bikes. And with that in mind, they're very undersprung suspension. So I actually had upgraded the front suspension on my CRF250L to the Race Tech cartridge that you can put in. Made a world of difference, but it wasn't the right spring rate. It just stiffened it up so when you go over a bump, it wouldn't just collapse on itself right away. Still helped a ton, but then I never touched the rear suspension. Now I could have gone the extra mile, spent about $1 grand on the rear suspension, probably gotten the front reworked again for another 100 or so, and gotten everything dialed in. But at the end of the day, you're tossing so much more money into this bike where you could just be upgrading and being more comfortable and happier and possibly safer in the long run, depending on where your skill level is. I never expected my skill level to progress this much or have this much fun in the woods. I'll be honest with you. I bought that bike because it was a really cheap and efficient way to just get into the sport. I just got my motorcycle license. I'll actually throw a picture up right here of the first day I picked up that bike. I was so excited. And I immediately took it out to the woods and began to mess around with the bike. I bought that bike and I knew it was a budget bike. I knew of these two big issues, the weight and the suspension. But hey, it never slowed me down. It got me out into the woods. I had an absolute blast. And to be honest with you, the weight and suspension does not even come into play unless you're trying technical stuff. Half the time at Wayne National Forest, you're not even gonna realize that those two things are an issue because you're just flowing through those trails. If you're on a fire road, if you're on just a little bit of a gravel road, maybe off the beaten path, maybe just going through a cornfield, probably not gonna be an issue. You're gonna be floating over all these great bumps and it's gonna feel like a cloud and it's gonna feel great. But as soon as you start getting into some gnarlier ruts, some rocks, doing some hill climbs, maybe there's a technical route in front of you, that's where you're gonna start to feel that suspension kick in. You're gonna be bounced all over the place. I like to consider it the pogo stick feeling. And then on top of being bounced all over the place, you have all this weight in the top end that's just throwing you all around. So in the long run, I think it makes you a better rider being able to overcome all those things. But as soon as I hop on a bike like Pauline's new Beta 300, it was a whole new experience. And I was like, yup, it's time to upgrade. But what do I upgrade to? That takes care of all my off-road concerns, but as you guys know, I am an avid on-road rider as well. We go for big cruises sometimes, and I just like exploring scenery, and where I'm located in the United States, I actually have to travel a lot of the times on the road for quite a distance before I can reach some quality trails. With that in mind, and in the top of my head, I also needed a bike that was going to just be awesome on-road as well. There's a lot of options and a lot of things to consider when you're trying to upgrade a bike, and you gotta check every box you possibly can. You're never going to check every box, but you want to get close as possible. So during this whole video, everyone, you're probably wondering, why is the KLX 140G sitting here? Well, you could probably figure it out, but this is going to be my new off-road bike. I ended up selling that CRF250L, and yes, I did buy something else, but stay posted because that's going to be revealed very soon, and I'm so excited to share that with you guys because it took a long time, little bit of impulse, but we got it done, and I got something else, and I'm actually super thrilled, and I cannot wait to see what happens with it. But in the meantime, for true dual sport off-road rides, where everybody's on dirt bikes, I'm going to be on this, at least until I can figure out what I want to do next. This is not going to be a long-term fix, but as you guys know, I love this bike. I know you guys love this bike, and I know you guys are going to want to see more content on this bike. The first thing we're going to be doing with this bike is fixing the battery because it is stone dead. But in the meantime, this bike is an enduro machine. I've said that for years. I think these bikes are so underrated. This bike's street legal. As you guys have seen in the videos before, I could take this bike on the road. Unlike the CRF250L, this bike has better suspension. No joke, this bike has better suspension than a CRF250L, hands down. Doesn't have the same power, but this bike rips. And I'm so excited to ride this bike. It's coming up real soon. Our first off-road adventure on this bike is going to be in April, so I'm super excited that this footage is going to be pumped out to you guys real quick coming soon. I do have plans to maybe build this machine up a little bit more coming up real soon. I realistically don't know if I'm going to get to that yet, but we're going to see what happens. If you guys have any recommendations on other awesome ideas or parts or builds that you'd like to see out of this bike, let me know down below. I would love to humor anything, and we'll see what we can make happen on the channel. That's gonna about do it for this video, everyone. I know it's been more of a talking head video, but I had to get everything off my chest and kind of express my feelings on the CRF250L. Once again, fantastic bike. I still recommend that bike to everyone. Just understand what you're getting into. It is a budget bike. You're not going to have those suspension features that you're looking at on these plus $10,000 bikes, even plus $7,000 bikes. You're not going to have the luxury of that. The weight is going to be a little cumbersome to some people. And I'd even go to say that if you're a little bit shorter in your inseam, that might play a little bit of a part to it too. So definitely do your shopping, but understand what you're getting into. If you're just looking for an everyday commuter around town that maybe you'll throw on a fire road here and there, maybe a farm bike, maybe you have a farm or something like that, trust me, it's an absolute blast of a bike and you're not going to be disappointed in the bike. With that said, I'm super excited to show you guys the new direction of this channel where we really embrace the term ADV. And in the meantime, I'm going to be killing it on this little 140 machine and really showing what it can do. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to throw a new battery in this thing, and it's probably going to fire off, and I'm going to be able to rip it in no time. So I appreciate all you guys for sticking with us, and I appreciate all the new subscribers on the channel. If you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure you stay posted because I believe the next video on this channel might just be my new bike. So I can't wait to show you guys this thing. It is so awesome. And till next time, guys, my name's Jacob, and you were watching JB ADV. Have a great day. Take it easy.